And of course,
Good
Gianni said,
evening.
"Oh, good evening.
Good.
Good evening."
I mean,
Of
sorry, I
course.
was busy with something else. Um, the the situation in Lens is that uh, due to rapid success and development, and us trying to reach the maximum possible combinations of everything else as the second set of systems actually getting put together. Uh, the Keshe Foundation team has decided on a what we done before is not radical, it's a repetition of what we done before. We are going live from Tuesday and Wednesday. We'll open the Zoom channel, and instead of waiting for testimonials to be recorded, people prior going in are told that when they might be videoed inside the system, or when they come out immediately after. Because we found out a lot. There has been a huge progress, development in the past 2-3 weeks with a new system being installed. So we will break rules done before, and instead of getting people to give a testimony after, the testimony when they come out is totally different by the time in front of the camera afterwards. But at the same time, it allows people to feel what is going on inside the system and how people react. We planned this a few weeks ago to go live in. We spoke with Dean that we can put the microphones in. But now from Tuesday, we open the Zoom channels of the Keshe Foundation during the process of testing. Expect a lot of unexpected, expect a lot of things people never spoke about. And we, as we are testing systems, literally people will witness when people come out, their first reaction, their first outcome. And maybe a few other things will happen when they're in there. If you listen to the German teaching on Friday, we keep on asking people that they cannot release anything afterwards. This is a non-disclosure on the Keshe Foundation and our permission to open. The lady who was with us, and as we explained on Thursday teaching, went through receiving water by being in the unit and receiving a large amount of water, and then being put to elevate this whole of what we call mass murderers of people. She, in the interview in German language on Friday, disclosed something which didn't disclose to us in the or after the test or during the test. And if you go to the German teaching, you hear it that she says, I saw an Arab looking or Middle Eastern looking guy, is what Mr. Keshe was referring to, but that was something I don't know, too shy, or maybe didn't want to tell Mr. Keshe because I was expecting to be Bill Gates or somebody else. And in fact, for the first time we can reveal, yes, the gentleman was of the Middle Eastern origin. And what she saw was 100% correct, or what she felt and saw. And because of many other tests which are going and we don't reveal the reasons of it and whatever, even when you listen to the disclosures, you do not know what's been set up. You just listen to a story, but we know what we set up to get to this story. So now we open the doors on Tuesday and Wednesday, at least for this week, maybe for the following week. And maybe in specific cases, people can put a question to the people who are going through the trial. And maybe in one of the trials, to pre-test, we'll bring one of the world leaders into operation in the zone, live. Because the development is so fast, and secondly, we need to make sure every system in our system which is getting developed is correct, and we don't need to redo it or revamp it. So we decided we get as maximum as possible people's reaction. Maybe live, we ask some of you to join us, those who become satellite people, to participate even this week. We start this process because our 2 vertical systems are in the progress of completion the next 2 or 3 weeks. And the next 2 horizontal systems, which are much bigger, much more powerful, is specifically set for, what do you call it, double combination, which means we can create in one the condition of Earth, and we can create another one the condition of another position in the universe or whatever, and see how you land in there, how you look in there, how you feel in there. And so, as I explained in the what do you call it, the discussion on in the presentation last night, that now we are at that verge of doing it, being able to complete it, and so we are ready to deliver. And this time, as knowledge seekers come in, you come in, and if you remember when we did the 129 test lab, we went live. When we did the testing of the switching things, we went live 24 hours a day. And now we're going back to our work of the past, but this time is work to see what the new space technology is to offer. So if you register yourself as a satellite, or you register to be in this, be ready for any eventuality to go through the test. And this will bring us a lot of knowledge, correction, confirmation of what we wanted. I hope many of you will, the announcement will come out tomorrow. That you can, because we don't call it a blueprint, it's a live presentation. People around the world can watch what's the new space technology. And you can invite anyone on YouTube or Zoom to watch the process. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Kesh. I was just wondering why the reason for speeding things up. I was thinking that the souls you're in communication with of the world leaders are asking you to speed it up, saying, we're ready for the change. No?
No, the reason we are speeding it up, because we want to get as many combinations as the final 2 systems, vertical and final 2 system flight simulations, are getting completed. The reactors are getting built, and even I was in the lab, we changed on Friday. We changed some of, because of the new knowledge which is added, we came to make it more efficient. We made, let's say, I think about 40 reactors. With the decision we made, 2/3 of it goes in the bin because of what we learned. And we better change it now than before. Once we put it on the frame, it's very hard to take it off. So yes, with just Thursday meeting, we've thrown hundreds of thousands of euros of development, because we are going one step further. I think we must have bet at least 100,000 euro development and research. Just because We have found better way to do it, faster way to do it. And the reason we open up and we speed up is to not go on the multiple, what I call redoing it. We want to see every possible way. And hopefully it help us not to redo things again and restart things again. We had to correct, if you listen to the testimony of the two ladies, this pull to the left showed us a lot of things. Getting pulled, all the passenger, all the knowledge seekers get pulled to the left, go to the other unit. We learn a lot more in that progress. Now we redesign the whole of the reactors. In fact, what we want you to do, we want you to go up through the chimney, which is above you, then become a Father Christmas, and actually going through the sideway. And that's the only reason. There's no speculation. It's just that we need to learn as much as possible, as fast as possible. But people have to understand what is to come. When we go live on YouTube and the rest, people will tune in to see the new space technology now. It's very boring. It's not going to be very exciting. You sit there for 1 hour, 2 hours, people going through the preparation of their energy to move. And then you are not participant, you're observer. Anyway, that's what is about to happen. If you want to join us on Tuesday and Wednesday to be observer, maybe to put a question, maybe to suggest something, we'll watch all aspects. But on our plan is to bring one of the world leaders in, just for a test, to see if it happens, how it happens, how we can control it, and see if the world leader remembers who's been there, or to him is a dream.
So as you've said in the past, nothing's hidden from the soul. So the soul of the world leaders are fully aware of what is about to happen to the physicality of that world, soul of physicality, and the physicality of.
Let me put it this way to you, if it can be explained this way. The world leader will sleep, will dream, and somebody across the world in Linz will tell you what that dream is, and they'll be puzzled how people may remember, know his dream. You understand?
Mm-hmm.
So, what is he sleeping, dreaming? The dream comes to us, and we can influence that position. But the interesting thing is that when we send him a message to watch the knowledge seekers, this program, that time, what he sees, people talking thousands of kilometers away, is what he thought he had a dream of. And that's the plan.
So his dream is going to be shared or experienced by one knowledge seeker or many, or wow, this is again.
All of us live will watch it.
Okay.
All of us live. If, let's say, Jalal says, I want to interact with him, we can bring Jalal into the system, remote. And at the soul level, Jalal can ask him, or influence, or share with him, or explain to him what is wrong, and what needs to be done, and what is correct is doing, from others people's point of view. This is a nightmare for world leaders. Somebody else reading their mind, as I call it.
And will this actually be Jalal stating things, or will it be the wishes of the soul of
It's
humanity?
a discussion of the souls. We all are observer in two souls communicating. As I said, this brought a big shock into Iran, that in the teaching on Thursday, we announced we know Ayatollah Khamenei is dead, because his soul is not bound to his physicality. I challenge people to show us. Nobody can cheat the system. But as the situation was blind, and like the lady, she didn't know who we have brought in, and what she said was 100% correct. And she confirmed to the teaching, if you go to the German teaching, that she received so much water and everything else. She didn't give us any, what do you call it, testimonial when she came out, but being of the German speaking, she released it to the German community on Friday. So it should be easy. It should be easy to do. So in a way, we'll see you on Tuesday and Wednesday, and maybe we all learn something new with it.
Beautiful progression, and we're glad things are speeding up in a way. I can't believe all the work that you said you've gotten rid of these reactors and things, and wow. So the development must be fast and furious in a way. Maybe not furious, but calm. But there's something happening. I guess we're getting closer to our next level. Are we going to actually see the world leader, or it's going to be the soul? You said, and this is the way it happened in many of the holy books, where kings had certain dreams about things, and then they consulted their court or other people or other ones.
We got the story in public. There are a couple of questions in there that people cannot log in. You have to get in touch with what do you call it? With Mario, who organizes these things, and I can see Law writes, I'm not able to log in my account at Keshe Store after I changed my email address. Send the message to store@keft.foundation. They will respond to you. We are at the moment going through a huge turmoil in Keshe Foundation again in our headquarters. A lot of people, literally key people in the Keshe Foundation, are going off for a long time to come back later on in weeks. And these are the people who could manage everything, and now we're gonna lose them for a long time till they come back. And so we try to head on this situation of getting every names and everything else out and putting it right. But regarding these two messages here, write to store at or write to customer services at cashfoundation.org. I think customer services at cashfoundation.org is changed to something new, which is more direct, but
Support.
right.
Support at catchfoundation.org.
I think it was announced. It could be. I don't have a good memory about this. We are. It'll be answered. A lot of things will be answered. One of our key people has just gone off, and she'll be off for next few weeks, at least 3, 4, or 5 months. And we have suddenly 3 or 4 of our key people off for a long time, long term. It's not they're not sick. It's just another condition they all had to. They've taken months off, and when they come back, we hopefully go back. And it's very hard to replace these people because they've been with the foundation for years and they know all the ways of doing things. I'll pass this message out regarding. I don't know who this love is. I don't know the name.
That's the German lady that you offered to pick her up and bring her to Linz at one point in time.
We'll see her on Wednesday or Tuesday. I think we'll see her in white. Winter, if I'm correct.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. And Charlo, I ask the people in the center to look why your email is not working, to reset it. Anyway, we'll see you hopefully back open on, what do you call it, on Tuesday. Being on Zoom or whatever does not mean affects the satellites or other people. We only contact the satellites. We only contact the people who are booked into the system for whatever reason. And so we might bring even the mobile and transmutation even faster forward. But bring us all, inform as many people as from Monday. That's what, from Tuesday, that's what it's going to be. We just open the Zoom channel and people can join in. And maybe, I mean, you know, everything with us is decided last minute. Maybe we will not go take cameras inside the flight zone, that's for sure. We will not. It's a very high level, very simple, but very high level technology. And we were not prepared at this moment to share it with the public.
Yes, and I noticed from yesterday that Biomed Expo that you're in very close communication with NASA. Apparently, they're getting up to date on everything, even though they can't replicate the system, obviously. They must be taking a lot of notes, and there's must be some people there deeply involved here.
More or less, they get more information and knowledge in certain ways.
Right.
Because there's a long-term agreement between the Keshe Foundation and the heads of NASA. And that even though they don't like us, but they always supported us in the background in different ways, and we always shared knowledge with them. And in a way, sharing knowledge is not rubbing their nose in, it's for them to understand coming. And the head of the NASA, who the people we're dealing is not just individuals or somebody. These are top guys who actually had major projects, a major part of NASA. And once we send these messages, it's literally shared by all the top people management in NASA. They are puzzled with the way we have performed in the past week. And in most of the Thursday teaching, they are present. They sit in different channels, their own channels, and large number of NASA scientists listen to the teaching every Thursday. Some are live, some there is a recording, and they're trying. It's the same with the Chinese. Chinese scientists never miss a single piece of teaching, and they go through it 100 times. What was said, what it meant, what it means.
Yes, it seems like their matter state Artemis is not, it's still springing some leaks, I guess, in the fuel apparatus or something down below near the motors, and they're going to have to sort of buggy it back to the maintenance center, I guess, before it could be delayed a month or 2 months. So they're having some troubles even in the matter state
Yeah,
getting off the ground.
NASA people we discuss or we communicate with, they're in the bigger projects of NASA, in Mars and Jupiter and the rest of the programs. And they're financed differently, they operate differently. You got to remember that some 3-4 years ago, NASA cleared for us to even see the black budgets of NASA. They wanted us to go inside and see and what we can do. And they are fully aware of what they do, and they're watching what's going to come. We're literally on weekly and daily basis in communication with them, because we update them and they understand what's going on. It's not just one person, there are 2, 3 heads that get debriefed directly every week, every day.
That's beautiful to hear, and thank you for deciding to make a one race planet out of this planet. I don't think it could ever happen without your presence. And then, of course,
we're trying to share the knowledge. I was reading this evening in a meeting, communication with the American ambassador a few weeks ago, and it's very, very interesting that how we structured communicating with the American administration. And it's very simple. It's part of the text. It's amazing when you don't realize it, and it was done 3-4 months ago. And if you understand the essence of it, it's why Americans always keep the door open with the Keshe Foundation. God, it's somewhere near. Maybe I can read it one paragraph. You understand how we work.
And again, this has not been shared that much with the knowledge seekers ourselves. Sometimes we think we're sort of on an island and hoping the others will join us, but I think there's a lot of lines of communication all over the world between the Keshe Foundation and very, very influential decision or policy makers.
There is a communication to the head of atomic energy recently, as it says, directly to Mr. Grossi, very recent date. It says, my companies are at disposal of IAEA if need be in case of any accident or incident in the Ukrainian nuclear power stations under attack by Russians. we have made open our factories as part of our EA, a lot of you know, and the same communication with all American administration and what we call with the way we work with the embassies and ambassadors. We put very simply that who we take and talk and how we do is I have already informed Colonel, one of the military top attaches, weeks ago of the shipment of the material. And one paragraph, which really was beautiful when I was reading it. Sometimes we go through this because in the meeting we had to go through it. It says nuclear power plasma system technology being shipped to US in coming days is there for both nations' scientific community to enjoy, and it will create millions of jobs in both nations. And this is shared with President Biden directly. So we don't hide, but our communication with the world is very, very direct, and with major, what we call work of us.
So it does sound like when you said you could transmute something from Iran in 2015 and send it to the White House, and you said the Americans knew it was no joke.
You know, when we do things, you have to understand Iran has different, America has different sections to every part of the world. So we talk in different ways and they talk in different ways, but we still, the negotiations in Vienna is not finished. Actually, it's getting very close. If you wouldn't have the internal problems, you're very, very close to completing. Very close. But the present situation in Iran has put a halt on, because I don't think even the Iranian leaders know if they're going to be empowered the next day, next month, next year. This is a fact that they are facing with what's going on. It could be a small change, or if they push, it could bring a change of government. So a lot of things is who do we agree with, because the next government could actually throw and shut all the nuclear test centers and that'll be it. I personally don't think if Iran regime changes, the next regime will be so tied up to development of the nuclear weapon side of the technology and more go towards the commercialization of industrial side. Yeah, I think we'll be very close to that way, and then you'll see that everything changes. But we have to see what comes up in the next few months. Don't forget what we see on the streets of Iran. It's exactly the way these people came into power about 40 years ago. Exactly the same way. They chose one person who was dead or claimed to be killed by the securities, and they started marches and rallies, and then they got another one murdered, and they got more rallies. And now they're using exactly the same, but this time it's all women. It's a repetition of what I saw in 1979, but in reverse, exactly what is going on. Exact repetition. Would this lead to a new leadership? Would this lead to a new hardliners if they come out of it? We don't know. In a way, we know, but we have to see how the game is played. We know for a fact in the test we tried to bring Ayatollah Khamenei, and the soul is there, soul of physicality is not there. And physicality is absent. So it means he's passed away. We cannot be alive through our test, we know. We've made that very clear.
So all the nations apparently are very hungry for this technology, but what about this idea of sharing it? That seems to be, they want it, but they don't necessarily or have reached the point of wanting to share it with the others. Is this clearly on the table that this doesn't come with the exclusive rights?
It is, we got to call back, I've said that before. We were invited to a very exclusive hotel and a very exclusive villas in the hotel and very exclusive dinners with the top Chinese officers, military, security, and we were invited to this place 2-3 times. The luxury is beyond imagination, and the whole thing, we don't have it in the West, not even the palaces of Europe. And the reason we were there in one occasion was to, after 2-3 days when we were supposed to go, with the head of the negotiation, the head of the Silk Road security, who was a friend of ours, and the head of the national security of China, to meet with the space scientist of the specific test. We got ready in the morning, ready to go, and we were told, sorry, something has happened. One of the leaders has objected to Mr. Kesh to meet with these people because of the security reasons. And so our head of national security, who's has become like a friend because we literally spend a lot of time with him, he was appointed to go to the space center with these people. We thought, what does he know about the space program? He goes, after a few hours he comes back, he says, Mr. Kesh, they have all the things you've taught. The only problem is they don't have the fuel combination. That's why they were inviting you in. They don't want you to see the Chinese achievement, but they cannot get the thing moving because they don't have the fuel. And that's the only thing they wanted you to teach them, how to fly, how do you fuel it. So we know the Chinese are extremely advanced at testing every possible way. When we talk about the gas production now, you see this was done 14 years ago, 15, 16 years ago. In past 16 years, we never went to it, but now we do because there's another condition we want to bring in. So, for 14 years, the Chinese haven't managed to find a fuel. And it is so simple to produce it. And why do we need gases in the gas state? Because we go for the energy, we're not going for the material state of burning. Anyway, we all learn and we all progress one way or another.
So they buttered up the bread really good, but they were never able to taste it, it sounds like.
They can't do it. They can't do it. I was in a meeting. Chinese are a very strange structure. especially when it comes to the military and security. We stay in a very beautiful surrounding in Beijing, beautiful surrounding. It's Chinese wealth in the government level. I've been in European monarchies and all sorts I've seen. It's beyond imagination. You can't even imagine these things exist, but it's a very normal way with them. You attend the meeting, a dining table of 40 rotating with at least 70, 80, 100 different dishes on the table is normality. And we see a different side of China than normal people do. And I was invited, actually I stayed in this place for quite a few nights. And then being invited back for meeting with the high-ranking officers of the Chinese structure. And a lady 3-star general woman came, saw me coming into the what was like a sitting in under the trees and discussing things. So the foreigner, she went, but no, she went crazy. Says, what is foreigner doing here? It's against the law. Oh, she went, but I've never seen a woman going crazy this way. And she went back to the apartment in the building because everybody has his own apartment. And they made a beautiful dinner. And she refused to come down. And they reported it to the head of the nations that this general is refusing to eat with Mr. Cash. The rest of the generals are all on the table. And she was ordered to attend the dinner. She came in, and the whole dinner time she was rapping and raging, why do we eat with a foreigner? And the Chinese security and the general say, he's one of us. He's not an outsider. He is loyal to the Chinese structure, and we trust him because he's brought so much for us. And at the end, they had to bring a lot of tablets. She was getting a headache. They had to give her a medicine to stop the headache. She says, I cannot, this is against the law of China to have a foreigner with the generals on the table. We know too much, we do too much, but we do everything forward, straightforward. There are a number of pictures with me with the hats of the Chinese generals with their star hats on it, which is a criminal offense. When we meet Jesus, they become friends, 2 or 3 years living there, so they give you their hats with the stars on it, with their uniform, and you're wearing a Chinese general hat. And they give it to you as a gift, you take it home. When I brought the first one to the hotel when I came, the first time, the Chinese could not believe. And they stole it. Actually, the Chinese knowledge seekers, they stole that first hat.
That could be an offense.
It's a gift.
And that's what I was saying, Mr. Kesh. If they had one scientist working, top scientist working on solving this issue, then they at least had 100 top scientists working on this issue, and they haven't been able to understand it. And you say it's
no,
so simple.
It's part of it. It's not that they're not stupid, they understand the Iranian. They understand a piece of it and they concentrate on that piece. It's not that they are absolutely useless. They actually work, even the Iranian, the Americans are bent backwards working research on Keshe Foundation.
Yeah.
The Russians are much. In Russian space, there's a heavy, actually I've been told there's a division actually works on the Keshe Foundation technology because they're very close with tokamak and they understand it, but they still go that way, which doesn't work. But in general, it's part of the work. You got to, I mean, when you look at the enhancement unit, the body enhancement unit, if I add two pieces to it, it becomes a flying system. Not much. You just need two systems in it, and that's just that thing will fly. But we haven't created a creature for a test on the ground. It's the same with our system. That's why it's abnormal to do a flight test in the basement of a building. You usually need a rocket launch and a pad and everything else, runway and the rest of it. But then you have the knowledge of the creator. You walk from anywhere under the ground, in the oceans, all the same. This is one of the biggest shocks to a lot of people in the space technology, that we have chosen the basement room or the ground level room, fully concreted, to do a flight test. If you think of it, is impossibility. People cannot even imagine. That's why they can't believe it can be done. This is the problem with the present time. As you said, they might take the rocket back in maybe a couple of months later to fix a valve. We go underground and we still travel the distance in the space.
It's hard to believe we're sitting here and listening to you tell us this. I mean, it's just, again, hopefully this makes it into the bigger picture so that everyone can share in this and not be fooled so much.
I'm traveling at the moment and we are busy with sorting a lot of things out. And I have to be in the center for the flight 2 days. And back on travels again, we're trying to establish a lot of things around the world, and gradually we see where we get. The opposition to Keshe Foundation since we started the flight has skyrocketed. And I mean, we are not aware of it, but the opposition by governments has skyrocketed to take the Keshe Foundation off the network. You're not aware of what's going on, but governments are now see this as the biggest problem for them. And they're trying to find a solution to literally take Keshe Foundation off the internet in the next few weeks.
I alluded to something like this because we played your small clip at the beginning of the last workshop where you said about teaching through the soul, not needing a laptop, not being connected to Zoom and so on and so forth. And I had the sense or the feeling that this could be what you were, a way to circumvent that situation.
They are now we have governments literally piling up behind each other to make accusations, and then try with the accusations to do what they did. The Belgians, now they're still at it, but now is gone. What we saw with Belgium is nothing to compare to what they're set up to do now. We got it in black and white. We know exactly what they're going to do. Trying to discredit, and so we don't sit and wait for it to do for them what do they want to do. We're doing our own way of doing things, and we shall see. If you thought the Belgians with those court cases were tricky, the things that started in different fronts that's a child play compared to what is coming. Anyway, let's see what we can do and where we come in.
Delightful to have you with us. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Join us from Tuesday, and you never know, we could be full of surprises.
You always are as a master magician and a master of disguise. So we thank you for all your work in the background that we're not even aware of, haven't even been shared with us, but yet you're working for a beautiful conclusion of this whole process.
We'll see. We'll see what comes out. We never know. Don't forget there was a series called The Tale of Unexpected. We're going to see what's on the tail. But we're expecting it. And see how things take shape. Anyway, join us from Tuesday, Wednesday, and see anyone you see on your Facebooks, on your whatever, to join in. On YouTube, we go live on all channels. People around the world can see the new flight system, and it'll be the first time done this week.
Is this going to be part of the One Planet, One Nation program, or would this be later in the day or earlier?
No, we have a 10 till 5 program in the it goes on our 10 to 5 program. We are not doing anything to, what do you call it, to change. We are going there to do Wednesday. We finish maybe 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock, latest 3 o'clock, and we start at 10 in the morning. Then we open the operating room at 10 o'clock in the morning, and we go through the process. And it's a normal day, but instead of us being in there, now we're bringing you in to see it. Maybe during the time we are waiting for other people to go through the process of the flight or whatever they do, we keep on teaching, we keep on sharing knowledge, we keep on understanding more. And we'll see. We are there to bring the change, but maybe the change has to come much, much faster than we thought. Anyway, thank you very much. And try to get this promoted to as many people around the world to join us live and watch how man will fly in the future. Thank you very much and good night.
Thank you. Thank you from all of us.